Have you ever wondered if your milk drinking habits are quietly turning it into an enemy of your health? Many people assume that milk is always a safe and healthy choice, especially as we get older. However, the truth is that depending on how and when you drink, milk can go from being a nourishing part of your diet to something that disrupts digestion, interferes with medications, or even causes discomfort that accelerates aging. This may sound dramatic, but for seniors, the way we consume milk can make a bigger difference than you might think. In this video, we'll explore 6 common mistakes older adults make with milk habits that may seem harmless, but could be quietly working against your body, especially after 60. These are not myths or scare tactics. They are practical insights based on how our aging systems respond to food combinations, timing, and lifestyle. And most importantly, each of these mistakes can be avoided with a simple change that will make milk work for your health, not against it. So stick with us until the end, because some of these might surprise you, and changing just one of them could mean the difference between better digestion, better sleep, and better energy throughout the day. To begin with, one of the most common and quietly harmful mistakes older adults make is drinking milk on an empty stomach. It may sound harmless, even healthy. After all, many of us were raised to believe that a glass of milk in the morning is a wholesome way to start the day. But as we get older, our bodies don't respond the way they used to, and what once felt comforting might now be causing discomfort without us even realizing it. Milk is a complex food. It's not just liquid, it's packed with proteins like casein and whey, natural sugars like lactose, and varying levels of fat. When consumed on an empty stomach, especially first thing in the morning, this richness can overwhelm the digestive system, particularly in seniors whose stomachs produce less acid and fewer digestive enzymes with age. Instead of being digested smoothly, milk can curdle in the stomach, leading to bloating, nausea, gas, or even acid reflux. A clinical study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that gastric emptying, the rate at which food leaves the stomach, slows significantly in older adults when they consume high-fat, high-protein liquids like milk without any solid food. In fact, the study reported that participants over 65 experienced up to 32% slower gastric emptying compared to those under 40 when drinking milk alone. This delay leads to that familiar, heavy, sluggish feeling that can drag into the rest of the day. Another report by researchers at UC San Diego noted that more than 40% of seniors experience digestive discomfort tied directly to the timing and content of their first meal. Let's consider an everyday example. Harold, a 76-year-old retired bus driver from Pennsylvania, had a morning routine he loved: wake up early, pour a tall glass of cold milk, and sit by the window with his newspaper. For years, it felt like a peaceful, nourishing habit. But gradually he started noticing that within an hour of waking, he felt bloated, tired, and a little queasy, like he'd eaten too much even though he hadn't had breakfast yet. At first he blamed his cereal, then his age, but during a routine checkup, his doctor asked a simple question: "Do you eat anything before drinking milk?" When Harold said no, the doctor suggested a small change: eat a piece of toast or half a banana first, then wait 10 minutes before having milk. Harold followed the advice, and within just a few days, the difference was night and day. He felt lighter, more energized, and the morning discomfort disappeared. This simple change had a real impact because it worked with his body's natural digestion, not against it. As we age, our stomachs become more sensitive to food combinations and timing. Drinking milk on an empty stomach is like tossing a heavy log onto a weak flame. It smothers your digestive fire before it can start. But giving your stomach a little kindling first, like a slice of whole grain toast or a few nuts, allows digestion to begin gently so the milk can be processed more smoothly. And there's an added bonus: pairing milk with fiber-rich carbohydrates has been shown to improve calcium absorption and reduce blood sugar spikes. A small study by Tufts University found that seniors who consumed milk alongside oatmeal or whole wheat toast had 18% better calcium uptake and fewer post-meal energy crashes compared to those who drank milk alone. So what should you do instead? It's simple. When you wake up, start with a small bite, maybe a banana, a piece of whole grain toast, or a little warm oatmeal. Give your stomach 10 to 15 minutes to get started, then enjoy your milk. You can also mix milk into your meal, such as pouring it over oats, blending it into a smoothie, or adding it to warm cereal. These gentle combinations help your body digest more efficiently, reduce discomfort, and give you steadier energy throughout the morning. Many older adults find that just making this one shift, eating before drinking milk, leads to better digestion, more consistent energy, and even improved sleep at night. That's because when your digestion starts the day in balance, your whole body feels more at ease. In short, milk itself isn't the problem, it's the timing. And a small change like this can be one of the most powerful ways to feel better every single morning. So the next time you find yourself reaching for that glass of milk first thing in the morning, pause and ask, have I eaten something small first? If the answer is no, give your stomach the support it needs and let your milk work for you, not against you. Moving on. Another mistake many older adults unknowingly make is combining milk with citrus fruits or juices, especially in the morning. On the surface, this pairing might seem like a healthy choice. A bowl of strawberries with milk, a glass of orange juice, followed by milk, or even a smoothie that blends both. After all, fruit and milk are both nutritious, right? But the problem lies in how the body processes them together, especially as we age. Citrus fruits like oranges, grapefruits, pineapples, and even strawberries are highly acidic. When this acidity interacts with the proteins in milk, particularly casein, it causes the milk to curdle both visually in your glass and chemically in your stomach. This curdling makes the milk much harder to digest, leading to symptoms such as bloating, gas, acid reflux, and a heavy or unsettled stomach. For seniors, this is even more of an issue because the natural production of digestive enzymes slows down with age. That means your body is already working harder to break down food, and when it's suddenly tasked with processing curdled milk, the digestive process becomes slower and more uncomfortable. A clinical study published in the Journal of Gastrointestinal and Liver Diseases reported that adults over 65 who consumed dairy products along with acidic foods experienced a 35% increase in gastric distress symptoms compared to those who kept the two food types separate. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's something that can affect your entire day, from how much energy you have to how well you sleep at night. Let's consider Gloria, a 73-year-old retired librarian from Arizona. She loved beginning her day with a bowl of fruit and a glass of milk. Her go-to breakfast included orange slices, a handful of strawberries, and sometimes a bit of pineapple, all washed down with a small glass of cold milk. On paper, it sounded like a perfect, nutritious start, but within an hour, Gloria often felt heavy, gassy, or mildly nauseous. She assumed she was developing food sensitivities with age, and she even considered cutting out milk altogether. However, during a conversation with her doctor, she described her morning routine, and that's when the connection became clear. Her doctor explained that the problem wasn't the milk or the fruit, it was the combination and the timing. Gloria was advised to separate acidic fruits and dairy by at least 1 to 2 hours, and to swap her morning citrus for something more gentle, like banana or apples. She made the switch and was surprised by how quickly her symptoms disappeared. Her digestion felt easier, her stomach more settled, and she no longer dreaded breakfast. What seemed like a tiny adjustment made a big difference. This kind of reaction isn't unusual. The human digestive system functions best when food combinations are compatible and don't create internal conflicts. Think of it like a traffic system. Milk and citrus are like two busy lanes merging into a single road during rush hour. The result is congestion delay and frustration. But when spaced out properly, everything flows smoothly. That's why timing and pairing matter, especially for aging bodies. If you enjoy citrus fruits, there's no need to stop eating them. Just be intentional about when you eat them. Have your fruit earlier in the morning and your milk later, or vice versa. Low-acid fruits like bananas, apples, cooked pears, or blueberries pair much better with milk and are less likely to trigger digestive issues. These fruits are naturally soothing and provide fiber that supports digestion. You can safely enjoy them with milk in cereal, porridge smoothies, or even yogurt. If you're someone who enjoys smoothies in the morning, try blending milk with oats, banana, and a little cinnamon instead of acidic fruits. It will still taste delicious, give you lasting energy, and be much gentler on your stomach. Another tip is to pay attention to how your body reacts. If you feel unusually heavy, bloated, or tired after breakfast, consider what you're combining. Sometimes it's not the individual foods, but the way they interact. And remember, the older you get, the more sensitive your digestion becomes, even if you've been eating the same foods for years. The digestive system, like the rest of the body, needs a little extra kindness with age. So, next time you're preparing your breakfast or reaching for that glass of orange juice alongside your milk, take a moment to think about the pairing. Give your body time between the two, or choose a more compatible combination. These are small, thoughtful shifts that can improve your comfort, energy, and quality of life without requiring major sacrifices. Milk and fruit can both be part of a healthy diet as long as they're not competing with each other inside your stomach. By respecting your body's rhythm and digestion, you can enjoy both fully and feel better after every meal. Another mistake many older adults make, often out of habit or a desire not to waste food, is reheating milk multiple times. You might warm up a cup of milk before bed, not finish it, and then refrigerate it for the next day. Or maybe you pour some into your coffee, leave the rest on the counter, and reheat it again later. It seems like a small, harmless thing to do, but what many people don't realize is that each time milk is heated and cooled, its structure changes in subtle but important ways, and those changes can quietly impact your digestion and overall health, especially as you age. Milk is a sensitive food. It contains delicate proteins like casein and whey, along with natural sugars and fats. When you reheat milk, especially more than once, those proteins begin to denature or break apart. The fat molecules can also start to separate, and the lactose may begin to ferment depending on how long the milk sat out before being stored. These changes may not be visible, but your digestive system can feel the difference. A study published in the Journal of Food Science and Technology found that milk proteins exposed to repeated heating cycles showed reduced digestibility and altered texture, which can make them harder to process, particularly for older adults whose enzyme production has naturally declined. In simple terms, milk that's been reheated several times becomes more difficult for your body to break down, often leading to gas, bloating, or stomach discomfort. And beyond just digestion, there's the issue of safety. According to the USDA, perishable liquids like milk should not be left at room temperature for more than 2 hours. If milk is heated, then cooled, and later reheated again, those temperature fluctuations create a perfect breeding ground for bacteria, even if the milk still smells okay. For seniors whose immune systems may be weaker than they once were, even mild bacterial contamination can cause days of discomfort. Let's consider Robert, an 81-year-old retiree from Ohio. For years, he had a comforting nightly ritual, heating a small pot of milk on the stove before bed. It helped him relax and sleep. But over time, he began noticing that he often woke up in the middle of the night with stomach cramps or felt bloated the next morning. He couldn't figure out the cause, especially since he hadn't changed his diet. Eventually, he mentioned to his doctor that he usually reheated leftover milk from the night before. The doctor explained how repeated heating alters the milk structure and may introduce low levels of harmful bacteria. Robert changed his routine. He began heating only what he planned to drink and stopped reusing milk from the day before. The difference was immediate. His nighttime discomfort disappeared and his digestion became more regular and predictable. What felt like a minor adjustment made a major improvement in how he felt. This simple shift, only heating what you need, can make a big difference, and it doesn't require giving up milk or changing your lifestyle drastically. It just means treating milk like the fresh, sensitive food it is. If you're someone who enjoys warm milk in the evening, use a small cup or mug, heat it gently on the stove or in the microwave, never to boiling, and finish it all in one sitting. If you're using milk in recipes like oatmeal or soups, try to add it at the end of cooking, and avoid reheating leftovers with milk more than once. And if you do have leftover milk, store it in a sealed container in the refrigerator and use it cold or reheat it only one more time. Never again after that. Also remember that milk is not like water. It's a food with a shelf life that shortens every time you change its temperature. For those who feel bad about wasting milk, consider pouring smaller portions at first and only heating more if needed. This helps avoid leftovers altogether and ensures you're always drinking milk in its freshest and most digestible state. In the long run, your digestive system will thank you. Many older adults report better sleep, less bloating, and improved energy simply by making this one adjustment. And when you think about it, this advice follows the same wisdom we apply to other sensitive foods, like fish eggs or leftovers containing cream. You wouldn't reheat those multiple times either. Milk deserves the same care. So here's your wake-up call. If you've been in the habit of reheating milk again and again thinking it's harmless, now is the time to stop and rethink that routine. That lukewarm cup might be doing more harm than good. Heating milk fresh each time might seem inconvenient at first, but it's a small habit with big health benefits. Treat your milk with care, and it will return the favor in the form of smoother digestion, better comfort, and fewer surprises in the middle of the night. Another mistake that many older adults make, often without thinking twice, is drinking cold milk right after a heavy meal. It might feel comforting in the moment. Perhaps you just finished a rich dinner and a glass of cold milk seems like the perfect way to soothe your stomach or wash everything down. But for aging digestive systems, this habit can quietly work against you. When your stomach is already full of food, especially heavy fatty or protein-rich foods like meat, creamy sauces, or fried items, adding cold milk into the mix can slow digestion dramatically. That's because cold liquids cause the stomach muscles to temporarily constrict, which reduces their ability to churn and break down food effectively. At the same time, the fats and proteins in milk add even more work for the stomach, which is already trying to process a big meal. For seniors whose digestive strength naturally weakens with age, this combination can lead to bloating fullness, sluggishness, or even nighttime acid reflux. A study published in Digestive Diseases and Sciences found that gastric emptying, the process of moving food from the stomach to the small intestine, can slow down by as much as 30% in adults over 65, especially after consuming cold beverages with high-fat meals. That means your food stays in the stomach longer fermenting, creating gas and putting pressure on the lower esophageal sphincter, which can cause heartburn or regurgitation. This might sound technical, but the effects are something many older adults feel on a regular basis without realizing the cause. Take a story of Margaret, whose 74-year-old grandmother from Illinois, who had a long-standing routine of finishing dinner with a cold glass of milk. It helped her feel relaxed and reminded her of simpler times. But over the years, she noticed that she often felt heavy and uncomfortable at bedtime. Sometimes she would wake up with indigestion or that burning feeling in her throat. At first, she blamed spicy food or age-related reflux, but when she mentioned her routine to a nutritionist, the professional pointed to the temperature and timing of her milk. Margaret made one simple change. Instead of drinking milk right after dinner, she waited an hour or chose to have a small cup of warm milk before bed. Within a few days, her evening bloating decreased, her sleep improved, and she no longer woke up feeling uncomfortable. What seemed like a minor adjustment had a huge impact on her overall well-being. This is your wake-up call. If you've been sipping cold milk right after a big meal, thinking it's soothing your stomach, it may actually be making digestion harder and triggering discomfort that carries into the night. The good news is that the fix is incredibly simple. Instead of drinking milk immediately after eating, wait at least 45 to 60 minutes. Give your stomach time to break down the food before adding anything else, especially something cold and creamy. If you crave something to drink with dinner, opt for a warm beverage like herbal tea or warm water with lemon. something that soothes rather than slows digestion. And if you really enjoy milk with your evening routine, try warming it slightly and sipping it on an empty or nearly empty stomach, ideally before bed. Warm milk not only digests more easily, but it also has natural compounds that promote relaxation and better sleep. You can even add a pinch of cinnamon or nutmeg for extra comfort. The point isn't to give up milk or rigidly avoid it after meals, it's to understand how your body responds and give it the conditions it needs to work efficiently. Think of your digestive system like a machine. It works best when it's not overloaded or forced to switch gears suddenly. When digestion is smooth, you feel lighter, sleep better, and wake up more energized. But when it's bogged down by poor timing or incompatible combinations, you carry that heaviness with you for hours. Many older adults mistake this feeling for something unchangeable, a natural part of aging, when in fact it may be the result of one simple habit done at the wrong time. So next time you're about to pour a glass of cold milk after dinner, pause and ask, is this what my body really needs right now? Maybe all it needs is time or a warmer, gentler version of the same thing. That one change, waiting an hour or switching to warm milk, could be the difference between tossing and turning in bed or getting a restful, healing night's sleep. Small choices like this add up, and they give your body the respect and support it deserves, especially as you age. Another common mistake that many older adults make is taking medications with milk, often thinking it's a safe and even soothing choice. It's understandable milk feels gentle, it coats the stomach, and for those who struggle with swallowing pills, it might seem like a more pleasant alternative to water. But what many people don't realize is that milk can interfere with the effectiveness of certain medications, especially those commonly prescribed to seniors. This happens because milk contains calcium, magnesium, and proteins, all of which can bind to specific medications and prevent them from being fully absorbed into the bloodstream. In other words, your body may only receive a portion of the dose you intended to take, and that can reduce the medication's effectiveness. This is especially true for antibiotics like tetracycline and ciprofloxacin, thyroid medications like levothyroxine, and some osteoporosis or blood pressure drugs. A clinical review published in Clinical Pharmacokinetics found that taking calcium-rich products like milk alongside these medications can reduce their absorption by 40 to 60%, a significant margin that can affect how well your condition is managed. For seniors who are managing multiple health conditions, this kind of interference can quietly make things worse, even when you're diligently following your prescription schedule. Now let me introduce you to Leonard, an 80-year-old retiree from Florida who had a long-standing morning routine of taking all his medications with a glass of milk. He believed the milk helped protect his stomach, and since he had been doing it for years, he assumed it was harmless. But during a routine doctor's visit, his physician noticed that Leonard's blood pressure readings were erratic, and his thyroid levels weren't responding as expected. When Leonard mentioned the milk, the doctor explained that calcium in dairy products was likely interfering with the medication's absorption. Leonard made a simple switch. He began taking his pills with water and waited 2 hours before having any milk or dairy. Within a few weeks, his blood pressure stabilized and his energy levels improved. This kind of scenario is more common than people think, especially in older adults who often take several medications a day. The good news is that avoiding this problem is easy once you understand it. Unless your doctor tells you otherwise, the best way to take medications is with plain room temperature water. Water is neutral. It doesn't interfere with absorption, and it helps pills pass smoothly through the esophagus and into the stomach. Once you've taken your medication, it's best to wait at least 2 hours before consuming any milk, yogurt, cheese, or other calcium-rich foods. This buffer allows your body to absorb the medication fully without competition. If you're not sure whether your specific medications interact with milk or dairy, don't hesitate to ask your pharmacist. Most pharmacies will provide a printout with instructions, but if it's unclear, they can check interactions and help you time your meals and medications properly. Some medications like calcium or vitamin D supplements are actually better absorbed with food or milk, so it's not always a one-size-fits-all answer. That's why it's important to understand which medications are sensitive to dairy and which are not. Another helpful strategy is to keep a simple medication schedule. Write down the times you take each pill and plan your meals accordingly. For example, if you take your thyroid medication in the morning, wait a few hours before having any dairy at breakfast. Or if you take antibiotics at lunch, save the yogurt or milk for dinner. Making these adjustments can significantly improve how well your medications work and how you feel throughout the day. And if swallowing pills is still difficult, there are non-dairy options to help, such as applesauce pudding or even herbal tea that won't interfere with absorption. Many seniors don't realize that milk, although nutritious, has a unique ability to alter how your body handles medication. That's why being thoughtful about timing it can protect your health and make sure the medications you rely on do their job. The bottom line is this milk and medications don't always mix well, and when they don't, your health may suffer quietly. But with just a few changes in timing and a bit of planning, you can avoid these issues entirely and get the full benefit of every prescription you take. Another mistake many older adults make with milk, often unintentionally, is using it as a primary source of hydration. It's understandable. Milk feels nourishing. It has liquid consistency, and it offers important nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, and protein. For many people, especially those who grew up in an era where milk was seen as the ultimate health drink, it can feel natural to drink it multiple times a day. But the problem is that milk, while beneficial as a food, is not an effective substitute for water when it comes to staying properly hydrated. Unlike water, which is absorbed directly and quickly by the body, milk is a complex beverage that contains fats, proteins, and sugars. This means your digestive system has to work to break it down, and that process uses more water than it provides. In short, milk contributes some fluid but does not hydrate the body the way plain water does. For older adults, this distinction matters more than ever. As we age, our sense of thirst naturally decreases, meaning we may not feel thirsty even when our body is already low on fluids. At the same time, kidney function becomes less efficient, and the body's ability to conserve water is reduced. These changes make older adults more vulnerable to dehydration, and if you're relying on milk to meet your hydration needs, you may not be giving your body enough of the fluid it truly needs. A study published in the journal Age and Aging found that up to 40% of older adults admitted to the hospital showed signs of dehydration upon arrival, and many were unaware of their condition. The symptoms can be subtle: dry mouth, fatigue, dizziness, constipation, and dark-colored urine, but they can have a serious impact on energy, cognition, and overall well-being. Consider Marlene, an 82-year-old woman from New Mexico who enjoyed drinking milk with every meal. She felt that milk gave her strength and helped her sleep better, so she had 2 to 3 glasses a day and rarely drank water. Over time, she noticed her skin was dry, her energy dipped by early afternoon, and she became more constipated than usual. She assumed it was just part of aging, but during a doctor's visit, routine blood work showed signs of mild dehydration. When asked about her water intake, she realized she was drinking less than 1 full glass of water per day. Most of her fluids were coming from milk, tea, or soup. Her doctor explained the importance of plain water and encouraged her to increase her daily water intake to at least 6 cups. After making that change, drinking a full glass of water in the morning, sipping between meals, and reducing milk to 1 serving a day, Marlene reported better energy, clearer skin, and more regular digestion. Milk can still be part of a healthy diet, but it should be seen as food, not fluid. That means it's best enjoyed as part of a meal or snack, not used to quench thirst or replace water throughout the day. Your body needs pure water to flush out waste, regulate temperature, support organ function, and keep joints and tissues properly lubricated. While milk does contain water, it also demands more work from your digestive system and kidneys, which limits its hydrating effect. The fix is simple. Make water your main beverage throughout the day. Aim for at least 6 to 8 cups, depending on your size, activity level, and climate. If plain water is unappealing, try infusing it with a slice of lemon, cucumber, or fresh mint. Herbal teas and broths also count toward your fluid intake and can be soothing alternatives. Water-rich fruits like watermelon, strawberries, and cucumbers can contribute to hydration as well, especially in the warmer months. If you still enjoy milk, great. Just treat it like a nutritious addition to meals rather than your primary beverage. You might have milk with breakfast cereal, use it in smoothies, or enjoy a warm cup before bed. These are all good ways to get the benefits of milk without sacrificing hydration. Also try starting your day with a full glass of water before anything else. This small habit helps replenish fluids lost overnight and sets the tone for better hydration all day long. For those managing health conditions such as kidney disease, high blood pressure, or diabetes, maintaining proper hydration is even more important. In those cases, inadequate fluid intake can worsen symptoms or interfere with how medications are absorbed. By ensuring that water, not milk, is your main drink, you're giving your body exactly what it needs to function well, prevent dehydration, and support the benefits of everything else you eat and drink. Making milk a part of your routine is still a smart choice, but it works best when it complements your hydration habits, not replaces them. In conclusion, milk can absolutely be part of a healthy, balanced lifestyle as we age, but only if we pay attention to how and when we drink it. Simple habits like drinking it on an empty stomach, combining it with citrus, reheating it too often, or using it to take medications or replace water might seem harmless at first, but over time they can lead to digestive discomfort, medication interference, or even dehydration. The good news is that each of these mistakes can be corrected with just a few small changes. Eat a light snack before your morning glass. Give milk and citrus some space heat, only what you need. Wait a while. After meals, take your pills with water, and don't forget to drink enough plain water throughout the day. These adjustments may seem minor, but they can make a major difference in how you feel: more energy, better sleep, smoother digestion, and a greater sense of comfort and control in your daily routine. So if this video helped you understand your body a little better or reminded you of something worth changing, please take a moment to give it a like. Share it with a friend or loved one who might benefit, and let us know in the comments, have you been making any of these milk mistakes? What changes are you planning to try? Your stories and insights help others feel less alone and more empowered. And of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos designed to help you live smarter, healthier, and more comfortably every day. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.